Welcome to another episode on the Power 365 show. Our guest today is Judd Salisbury, an experienced senior program manager with a demonstrated history of working in computer software industry. We'll discuss Microsoft Product Insights in the session, which is currently a product in preview for Microsoft and really being born out of their extensive telemetry acquisition across their various software portfolios. They've opened up or democratized, if you like, the ability to get insights from products. Now, those products might be software products, or they might be products that are an output of, physical manufacturing. Full show notes for this episode will be found at nz365guide.com/152. Now let's get on with the show. Hey, Judd, welcome to the Power 365 show.
Hi, Mark.
Mate, it's good to have you on here. It's the second time I've sat down and chatted with you. The other one was at, Orlando, wasn't it? Summit.
Yep.
And we did that one on video, which is, of course, across on YouTube. But today I really want to unpack Microsoft Product Insights, which is currently in preview, and really understand what it is, what type of companies are using it, and that type of thing. But before we get underway, Judd, where do you live, work, and play?
So I currently live in Seattle. I work at Microsoft, and I'm on part of the Product Insights team. So I commute every day into Redmond. Where do I play? Well, I think as we discussed before when we were chatting, I love travel, and I've kind of lived all over the world. So whenever I can go out and get out to play, I'm usually on the road traveling.
Okay. So are your favorite sports team at the moment?
Seahawks. I guess I actually gave up sports for a long time, and then just recently when I moved to Seattle, I got back into football. American football.
Nice. And I just want to, you mentioned travel, and I've done a bit myself. Tell us about kind of what's been some highlights of your travels.
Well, I always joke that I outsourced myself because I for a long time I was a consultant. So I got to travel and work remote. And so I've lived in Argentina and Brazil and India, and probably the most fun I ever had was I lived in South Africa for 6 months, and I borrowed someone's Land Rover, which was actually supposed to be blown up in a movie. So it was an old Land Rover pickup truck that was formerly from the military, and it had, because it was supposed to be blown up in a movie, they had made it look older than it was. It was still I think it was 1988. But they made it look like it was like from the 70s. They put a fake gas nozzle on the truck, and they painted fake dirt marks like on it. And unfortunately, I rolled that thing twice. I was in Upton, South Africa, which is apparently the hottest place in all of Africa. And I popped a tire, and so I rolled it. So that was quite exciting. The people who saw it, there was a bunch of people driving who saw it, and they said it was like out of a movie watching me roll. So that was quite an exciting day. No, and then I just continued on traveling around the southern tip of Africa. And at 1 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock during the day, I would log on, and I had my clients were based mostly in New York, so I would log on and start my work at 1 o'clock, and I was even able to work from a game park for a week. So that was kind of fun to be holding a meeting while looking at elephants.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so tell us about how did you get involved with Microsoft then?
So I came in as a consultant, putting in a BI system for the retail and online stores. I was actually selling a product called ProfitBase, and they were based out of Norway, and they brought me in to help with an implementation, and I did that for many years, and then they decided to hire me on to help create a retail data warehouse. Um, and then I started getting into big data, and now I'm into IoT and big data. So all around analytics mostly.
So how did you transition? How did you transition into the team now that owns Product Insights?
So I was coming from an internal product, an internal team called Asimov, and DNA, data and analytics, and we specialized in all the big data for mostly Windows, Office, some other internal products. We did a lot of telemetry, and so I came over here to bring in that skill set.
Wow, wow. So with that experience, were you taking telemetry data from those various applications that were running and basically looking for insights within that data for what type of reason?
So we basically, well, we built. I wasn't actually looking for the insights. We were creating a analytics tool to allow business users and anyone to have access to this, petabits of data. I mean, we had one of our tables grew, I think, 20 tera. What I can't remember. It was 1 terabyte a day, or maybe it was even 20 terabytes a day. And our system was just able to allow you to sort of do ad hoc querying, create charts, which is somewhat similar to what we do in Product Insights, in that we handle a lot of data for internal. Well, initially, so Product Insights was initially a internal product for Microsoft, Office, Skype. We actually came out of Skype, I believe, and we do a lot of Office data, Teams. And we basically allow users to easily query their data and find insights.
So with Microsoft Product Insights, let's start with some foundational stuff. The digital feedback loop, it's made up of 4 propellers on it. We have the customer, we have, of course, people or staff within the organization, operations, and we have product. So tell us about what Microsoft Product Insights is in regards to the digital feedback loop.
Yeah, so we are trying to allow customers to have an understanding of their product, have a full understanding of their product from web, apps, connected devices, whatever it is, whatever sends telemetry. We are trying to allow users to have visibility into that and to understand how their products are being used, to be able to do proactive repairs, um, to just to design features to improve upon how their product is, the features the product offers. And so that is part of our that is how we fit into the digital feedback loop. And we also are working to allow customers also to then see from the customer point of view, for like Customer Insights, which is one of our sister products, to allow people to see their product information, how their customers are using the actual products themselves, and have a better understanding.
Okay, so let me visualize this if I can. So just down the road from me, here I am in Auckland, New Zealand now, and there is all the kind of syndicates setting up for the next America's Cup yacht race. So this is something that Larry Ellison at Oracle has kind of been a big proponent of, sponsor of. The crew there, the Oracle crew, and won the last few, but New Zealand in the last round won, and so therefore it's now been run from our country. And I see these massive super yachts, and they have sensors all over them as they try to tweak them to top performance. Is this something that Product Insights would apply to, that they could take all that sensor data and feed it into Product Insights?
Yeah, absolutely. So so Product Insights has their own SDKs. So if you wanted to use our SDKs. We make it very simple to send us data. But essentially, we allow you to bring in that data and to immediately start gaining insights. The other thing I should note about Product Insights is we pride ourselves on our real-time nature. So handling that data and having only seconds of delay from being able to see that data. So something like a yacht, how that real-time nature, wanting to see that data in real time might be very valuable to them without that delay of days, which a lot of systems have a built-in delay of hours, if not days, until you start seeing that data.
So just to touch on that, are there direct competing products out in the market that Product Insights would go head to head against?
There's not really anything directly.
Is it more bespoke type applications that some companies would have built for themselves?
Yeah, there are, and we went and looked, and there's no one who's really handling the volume of data and the real time, and focusing on the analytics component of it right now. So depending on if you're okay with the delay, there are competitors. But in terms of the cost too, there's nothing really that. One of the things that we really pride ourselves on is the cost. That we can handle huge amounts of data at a very competitive cost point. Now, we are in public preview, so we are working out our exact costing model. But just internally, we know that we have our cost is quite very competitive.
Yeah. So I take it the entire service is running in Azure, but is this still a business application product? Is it part of the Microsoft Biz Apps ultimately sitting under James Phillips in the org?
Yeah, so we are in the BAG group, and we are obviously trying to make our product very work seamlessly with all the other business application products, but we are not solely tied to it. So you can bring in any product data, but we are trying to also make sure that we can export to the CDM format so that other products can use our data. One of the things we were really trying not to be is the end of the line. So you can do your analytics in Product Insights, but then you can export it and easily share it with other applications within Microsoft and outside of Microsoft. You don't have to just stay in our ecosystem.
So that was one of the questions I had, and I wasn't able to work out within the application when I spun up my trial is APIs. When you say it's not application at the end of the line, do you have like real-time APIs that can feed then, if you like, trigger events data out of Product Insights?
So we are still working on our like health monitoring, so to create the triggers. Right now we export the data to Azure Data Lake Gen 2, so that it's not the. But and as for APIs, I don't know where that is in our roadmap, but I imagine that is something we would be looking into as well, and not just. But initially our export is to ADLS.
Okay. So break down for me the kind of what is the process to get on Product Insights, and what are the steps to setting up to ultimately start lighting up some dashboards?
Yeah, so we're one of the things we are trying to do is make it very easy to start using Product Insights. We are, as I should have mentioned, we are a SaaS model, so we handle a lot of the complexities. So one of the things that we found looking at the market is, IoT, product telemetry. It often requires a lot of dev to stand up various environments and clean the data, and it's a hassle just to find basic information about how your products are being used. So to bring in data, we have multiple ways. The simplest is if you have you wanted to try out Product Insights. We have some sample demos that you can play around with. You can also even create your own simulated signal. So you can, if you were wanted to say, hey, this is the kind of data I'm looking for, you can actually sort of create a quick signal. And what we'll do is we'll actually even provide the code that you can then use to put in our SDK, use our SDK to generate that signal. So that's if you didn't have a signal already. And you can also connect to an event hub to pull in data. And then once you start bringing in the data, you can very easily start exploring. And because it's that real time nature, you get to see the data right away. We even start creating suggestions, helping understand your data as it flows in, to make suggestions on ways to explore your data more efficiently.
When I ran through the demo, there's 4 steps to set up your team, set up your project, and then set up your signal. And under that, there were the 3 key areas, which is define your signal, Azure IoT hubs, or import from CSV. Do you see that a lot of people, from a trial perspective, will start with that kind of CSV import of their data that they might have collected some other way, just to start lighting up some intelligence?
Yeah, I mean, it depends. I mean, a lot of the times, people will have some data lying around in an Excel doc. And so it's just a way to get started. It's not, I mean, Event Hub is probably if you have, a lot of people don't have an Event Hub data sitting around, and just getting access to it can be, you have to ask around, get the right credentials. So it is a good way to start with the CSV if you got it. But if you have an Event Hub, it's even better.
Yeah, totally makes sense. So tell us about defining a signal. What type of data types are typically accepted from a signal perspective?
And off the top of my head, it's you mean like we support floats, strings, dates. I'm not sure of if Boolean. I'm trying to think of what other types we support.
So all the common ones that people would have, obviously, in their data set. So when we look at who the customer for this product is it, like whiteware manufacturers that have now, whether it be smart fridges, smart washing machines, that type of thing, where they would have a lot of electronics on board and that data would be sent back? Or, is it Tesla, for example, car manufacturers that, once again, would have telemetry data that would, could give them some incredible insights into how the various parts are performing within that vehicle. What are you seeing?
I would say it's both, but it's also people who have applications, websites. It's not just the manufacturer or the manufacturer versus a car. I actually don't see the distinction between the manufacturer and the car. Tesla, they're both producing products with, but it's not. Yeah, we are not just for IoT. We are for all products anyway. If it's through a website, an application, or through a connected device.
I mean, that's ultimately the history of where you've come from, right? Is more actually telemetry data from software applications than product manufacturing.
Yes, that was originally where we started. And now we've just added more support for the connected devices.
Gotcha. So once again, then let's look at it from a software side. What type of customers do you see will start using this? Like, what is kind of the model customer?
The model customer. Well, I guess what we excel at is if you have multiple types of you're receiving telemetry from multiple types of systems. So if you have connected devices and you have a web app, and you want to bring that data together to understand how that product is being fully used. So, you mentioned a refrigerator. So the refrigerator has a smart refrigerator will have many IoT sensors that is sending data, but also you might have a web app that is, or that is also sending telemetry. And you can take that data and combine it to really understand how that customer is using your product, and to hopefully do proactive repair, or also to better make features that better suit, that meets the needs of your customers.
Yeah. So, what industries do you see will adopt this technology in your mind?
From manufacturing to web, uh, I don't think there's any. I mean, anyone who has a product that sends telemetry, um, we are interested in.
Are you seeing interest already? And are you seeing it more like, when we say anybody in manufacturing, that's a pretty big view of the universe. Are you seeing any specific manufacturing industries, any specific, yeah?
No, I mean, just those customers. The customers we've seen are those who are really desiring for a digital transformation. A lot of these companies we see that are interested in our product, they're bringing in uh, they have all this data and they don't know even the simplest questions. Sometimes they have trouble getting at. But a lot of our customers are very interested in, yeah, we got all this data. Now what do we do with it? And that's where we're stepping in, helping provide that insight into their data.
Excellent. So let's move into that area of data driven, insights into what it is. What type of questions are people wanting to ask around their data? What are they looking for, or don't they know?
Well, it is surprising how little they know. Just we've done some proof of concepts for some customers, um, and they were just, oh wow, we did, they didn't even know how often their product is being used. What is their MAU, what is their DAU, for their product usage. I mean, simple questions like that. But the other thing that we are trying to provide is anomalies. So essentially, one of the things we have something called Smart Advisor. When you first open up Product Insights, we're essentially every hour looking through your charts and your data to try to find interesting or things that are unusual. So we'll see a spike in water usage, and we basically indicate and highlight that, so that the user can then drill in and try to understand, hey, why is there water usage spiking? And so we're just constantly monitoring your data, looking for these insights, and we serve it right up on the homepage to you. So it's also just great is if you have, say 100 dashboards, you kind of know that when you open up your Product Insights, you can know the health of your system. Like, is all your data flowing in? Is there anything unusual I should be looking at? So that you're not surprised when you open up that dashboard in front of an executive and there's something that's unusual. We will have already caught it and alerted you, so you can be better informed.
You mentioned MAU, was it, and DOW? What
MAU.
was
Oh,
that?
MAU. I'm sorry. If monthly, MAU is monthly average users. DAO is daily average users.
So I know that particularly the monthly average users is something that obviously Microsoft with Office 365 and any of their SaaS products actually want to monitor quite regularly.
Yeah, and
And I assume,
so does our customers. They're interested in, if you put out that smart refrigerator, how often are people actually using those smart features?
let's just to drill in on the software side of it, and I'm talking about telemetry monitoring of software. What do customers need to do with their software to create that telemetry data set? Is there something that they like? Let's say I was building an app to do whatever. Is there stuff that I need to build into that software to actually provide the signal?
Yeah, so all you have to do is you can download. We support. We have essentially SDKs for most of the major platforms, and essentially you just download the SDK. It's pretty simple. You add it to your Visual. Well, if you have like Visual Studio, you can just add it to your code. add that NuGet package, and you just yeah, this is where I'm not a dev anymore, so I don't know the right terminology, but essentially you just make calls to that SDK, and then we handle all of that. Once we'll handle all the collecting of the data, the aggregation of the data, the management of the data. You don't even need to know where where it's going. We will manage that all, and it will show up in our product, and you can start doing analytics right on top of that data. So it's very easy to get going.
So what's the URL for people to get access and to try it?
aka.ms/trypi.
I'll give you another one. It's pi.dynamics.com, right? It's a Product Insights is also, that's how I found it. And I was impressed that I could sign up with a generic email address rather than tie it straight into my AAD account, which was fantastic. And I was surprised at how quickly I was able to set up, go through those 4 steps and light the system up so quickly. So anybody interested in doing that, definitely well worth taking a look at it. Looking forward, where do you see Product Insights going? As in, how will it mature? What are you looking at, adding, if you like, over time? What are your thoughts?
We're doing a lot in the web analytics. We're adding a lot of features there. We are also working on trying to even make our Smart Advisor, our AI-powered insights, even more powerful. So we're doing a lot of work there. And we're always trying to make sure that we keep the cost down, because a lot of these things can start adding up. But we're really trying to make sure that, hey, if you have large volumes of data, your bill is not going to be, you won't be pained when you see the bill.
Yeah. So you mentioned field service there, and obviously people could, use event hubs and create those triggers, etc. now. But I take it what you're doing here is making it just a lot easier for ultimately people to tie in their field service, which might then be connected to IoT systems and actually proactively, as you say, raise tickets, etc. in time.
And we definitely don't want to make sure that it's not just for devs, that a business user, R&D. I mean, anyone can use our system, and they can set up these things very easily without having to involve a dev team.
Yeah. You mentioned web analytics. Where do you see it going on that side of things?
So it's just so to understand your products, web is part of the product story. So we are adding more and more features to allow customers to understand how their website is being used.
Is there any training materials available for people to go get up to speed right now on Product Insights?
Product Insights, yeah. We have a fairly robust documentation, and I believe I'm off the top of my head, I don't know a URL. I have to look it up, but I think there's a link. If you log into Product Insights, there's a link to documentation. In fact, let me see if I can quickly.
That'll be located on Microsoft Docs, of course.
Yes. It is also on Microsoft Docs, but there is a link in the...
That's all good. I'll make sure we get that link and put it in the show notes for anybody that wants to check that out, as well as links to how to sign up for this and actually start, some of those, using some of those use cases that you've provided in the platform. Judd, before we get into some quick fire questions, anything else you want to add around Product Insights?
No, I just want to reiterate, how easy it is to get started. That aka.ms/trypi is if you go there, we can immediately log in, and as we spoke about, you don't even need to have an AAD account. If you have an Outlook, a Hotmail, you can just log in and start trying it out, and try out the samples to just get an taste of what Product Insights is all about.
Excellent. Okay, so you're ready for some quick fire questions?
Sure.
This is not about your Product Insights. This is more about you. First one, would you rather live in an apartment in a city or a mansion in the country?
Apartment in the city, as long as it's either Paris or New York.
Nice.
I'm a former New Yorker, so I miss New York.
Oh, you don't seem to speak fast enough. New Yorkers are known for fast talking, right?
Yeah, I'm trying
Keeping
to.
up with them.
You can't see me, but I'm kicking back my chair, trying to make sure my New Yorker doesn't come out.
What do the first 30 minutes of your typical day look like?
Um, I get up and I make a smoothie every morning, and I brew 3 cups of coffee, 2 for myself and 1 for my wife.
Nice, nice. Wow, wow. So you have two.
Well,
Um,
I have 2 that are put in a thermos that I then take on the bus. And then by the time I have an hour commute. So by the time I get to my office, I'm at the last sip.
what would your rap name be?
My rap name, Judster. I don't know.
Nice, nice. What are the top 3 things on your bucket list?
On my bucket list, Galapagos Island.
Okay, yeah, good choice.
Galapagos Island. I would say, there's a hike in Nepal that I really want to do. It's the Annapurna trek that I really like to do. And I guess the last one is, shoot, I'd like to live in Paris at some point in my life.
Why Paris?
Oh, I just think it's a beautiful city. So, and yeah, it's just, and it's easy to then explore Europe. I'm actually, my wife was a travel writer, and I've traveled to probably 50, 60 countries, but both of us are not very well versed in Europe. We've hit the more obscure countries um, than just more random countries than Europe.
Yeah, yeah. After living in London for the last 18 months, I was able to see 50% of Europe. So I've still got 50% to go.
Yeah,
And when I say see it, I mean I've been in 50% of the countries. Definitely not seen it by any stretch as to what would be possible. But it is amazing.
yeah, no, yeah. I think if I was based out of Paris, I would be able to take a train everywhere, and hit up a lot of those countries.
I know I went from Italy through France and then on to Germany, and of course I've done London to France as well. So you can get anywhere.
Yeah, like my wife and I have never been to Italy, and yet she was a travel writer. So it's funny.
It's easily my favorite country, Italy. If you could only eat one meal every day for the rest of your life, what would it be?
It would be bossam, which is a Korean dish. It's a pork dish. It's roasted pork shoulder, and it's with all these various sauces. You eat it with rice and lettuce and kimchi. And where, in fact, I introduced this dish to my cousin, and so every Thanksgiving now we have bossam.
Wow, I have never heard of it, never had it.
It's David Chang was the one. It's a Momofuku, which is a New York restaurant, and it's a guy named famous chef called David Chang, and who well, that's where I learned to. I use his recipe.
Wow, wow.
So it's a great
What's
dish.
what's the wildest party you've ever been to? That's the last one
Wildest party?
you've ever been to.
Shoot, I am trying to think. Oh, okay. I was at the bottom of I was in Ushuaia, which is at the tip of Argentina, and it was New Year's Eve. So essentially, the sun didn't go down. I mean, the sun kind of went down, but there was always light. Um, and I just celebrated New Year's Eve down there with some Argentinians and random expats. Um, and it went till like 7 o'clock in the morning.
Wow, wow. It would have been summertime then, wouldn't it?
It was summertime, so that's why it didn't really. Ushuaia is the most southern city in the world, and so yeah, I think around like 1 o'clock the sun set, and then but it, it was still there was that glow, and then like by 3 o'clock it came back.
Yeah, yeah.
It was
Amazing,
yeah,
amazing.
that was a fun party.
If you could recommend a guest for the podcast in the future, who would it be?
I would say John Shu, who is the dev partner on this project. he really does a great job of presenting a product. He does a great job of showing off and talking about product insights.
Nice. Awesome. If people want to follow what you're doing online, blogs or anything around that, or connect with you online, where can they find you?
So the easiest is you can always email me at jusali and at Microsoft.com. We do have a blog that is on the community's dynamics. And if you look up product insights, we are actively adding to that blog. Although just because we just released, it's a little light, but we're adding, I think, a new post once a week.
Hey, thanks again for listening. If you have not left a rating for us on iTunes, please do. Just go to nz365guy.com/iTunes and you can leave a review if you find this helpful, or if you want me to interview somebody from within the Microsoft product team or Microsoft in general and want to get their story out there, make sure you hit me up. LinkedIn Messenger is the best way to get hold of me. Send me a private message here and we'll see what we can do. Anyhow, full show notes for this episode can be found at nz365guy.com/152. See you next time.